Hi, my name is Ed Wehan. Welcome to this segment of Our Ventura. I'm pleased to have with me today Fiorella Calderoni, who's with the Ventura Loreto Sister City Committee. Fio, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Good. Let's start out for our viewers and explain a little bit what are sister cities.
Sure, it's pretty simple. A sister city is a relationship between two cities in different countries. Originally, it was started by President Eisenhower back in 1956 as a way of building on diplomacy efforts so that different cities and different countries could get to know each other better, have more support between each other, and then, in that sense, build cultural exchange and cultural understanding.
So there's a lot of sister cities throughout the United States, from our side and from various other countries.
Yeah, there are sister cities in almost every single country. Would have a sister city with a certain other city. It doesn't have to be the United States. So, for example, New York, I know, has a lot of sister cities. I think Los Angeles has around 20 to 25.
Wow. Okay.
I think Santa Barbara has about 7. So they're very popular. They're ways to exchange different aspects of the community with a community elsewhere.
So for us here in Ventura, it's a Ventura Loreto Sister City program.
Yes.
Where, maybe you could tell people a little bit more about where Loreto is.
Of course. Loreto is in Baja California in Mexico. It's a small little sleepy fishing town with about 18,000 people. It's on the Sea of Cortez. It's a beach town. And it's got a lot of similarities with Ventura.
Okay. How did the city of Ventura, how did we get involved in the Sister City program?
Well, in 2015, when Mayor Cheryl Heitman was mayor then, she actually had a formal key exchange with the mayor of Loreto back then, and that's how the whole Sister City program was started. So she was really interested in the Sister City program and found Loreto and found all the similarities that it shares with Ventura, and then just made it official.
So what are some of the similarities that make Loreto and Ventura to make this the kind of relationship that it is?
Sure. There are many. So, for example, Loreto has a national park. Ventura, of course, has Channel Islands National Park. Loreto has a similar national park with 5 islands called the Bay of Loreto National Park, or Bahía de Loreto. And that's one of our similarities, of course, us having 5 islands in the Channel Islands National Park. We're able to share conservation efforts and things like that, so that's a cool aspect. Loreto was also the starting point for Saint Junipero Serra's travels up from Baja California to Alta California. So Loreto is where he planned the different missions that would go up the El Camino Real trail through the Californias. And he, of course, founded 9 of the missions in Alta California, Ventura being the last mission that he founded. So he planned the mission that he founded here from Loreto. So that's one big connection tying us. And then we also, both are, of course, beach towns. We have similar weather. We have a lot of succulents and cactus and things like that we share. So a lot of the pictures even look similar when you look at Loreto and Ventura. They have good fishing. We share the same whales. The whales migrate from here, go down to Loreto. So lots of little things that we've found.
Yeah. To get down to Loreto, we have to go down around the Cape and back up then,
yes.
kind of thing. So,
yeah.
And so the first mission was in Loreto, and then he built them as he was moving north.
Yeah, he did not build the mission in Loreto, but that's where he was when he started planning the missions that would go up the El Camino Real.
Okay. And isn't UNESCO or somebody making this like a cultural heritage thing?
Yeah.
You can explain that a
Yeah,
little bit?
there's a nomination to make the El Camino Real into an official cultural corridor, which would be really cool because being a UNESCO site, of course, is great for tourism. It's great for conservancy, for cultural conservancy, and things like that. So we're really excited to see that go forward. It has to be efforts from the government of Mexico and the government of the United States. Both have to work together to try to make this a cultural corridor. And of course the El Camino Real extends from Baja California all the way up to Sonoma. So it would be a big cool corridor to travel.
Yeah, I think the El Camino Real, which we see marked periodically along the freeways and whatever else, I think it went Main Street or something in Ventura, so it went right down to the middle of Ventura.
It did.
And as you suggested, from a tourism point of view, visitors' point of view, it is a big draw. That'd be a fun thing to have happen here, and hopefully it does in the future. So what other relationships are there between the two cities, other programs that may exist between the schools or businesses or whatever?
Sure. Well, in terms of other relationships, I mentioned our similarities, the national parks, but we've established an official sister parks relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was established last time. So the President of Mexico, President Enrique Peña Nieto, was up here. He met with Obama, and they actually spoke on that effort, and they made it official that the Bay of Loreto National Park and Channel Islands National Park are now sister parks. We've also, with our mission, Father Tom of Mission San Buenaventura has established an official missions covenant with the mission in Loreto. So we are now sister missions as well. So those are some of the other relationships.
Yeah.
And then in terms of other projects, there's lots I could tell you about. So we have a pen pal relationship that exists. So we have a school here in Ventura.
Will Rogers,
yes. And they have, of course, a Spanish immersion program where their kids are learning Spanish. And so in order to allow them to practice their Spanish, they've set up a pen pal relationship with an elementary in Loreto. And the kids in Loreto are learning English. So the kids from here write in Spanish, they send the letters to Loreto, and the students in Loreto write in English and send them back to Ventura.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is.
That's a cute thing to do.
It's a very fun project. We've gotten to look at some of the letters. They're very cute. And we're actually working on sending 2 of the teachers down to Loreto to do a little teacher exchange as well.
Oh, good. And then there's a strong artistic community in Loreto, as there is here in Ventura.
Yes. That's one of our other similarities,
right?
That artist vibe. And we've had the pleasure of hosting some of the artists from Loreto. They actually came up for the art walk in 2015, and we hosted them here in Ventura, and they actually had booths for our art walk and things like that. It was very exciting to host them here. We're looking at somebody in our committee is looking at ways of having permanent housing here in Ventura for an ongoing artist exchange, which would be really fun.
Well, that would be exciting. And I think in the past, when you first started this whole program, I think former Mayor Cheryl Heitman went down there, and their mayor has been up here as well.
Yes.
So yeah, there's all of that kind of strong tie as well.
Actually, I think 2 of their mayors have been up here.
Here. Okay. Is there much flow between people here in Ventura and Loreto? I mean, is there a movement back and forth?
Yes, there's actually a lot more than I ever knew before joining the committee. It turns out there's a direct flight with Alaska Airlines from Los Angeles to Loreto. And so a lot of Americans end up taking that flight and either have homes in Loreto or annual vacations that they go to in Loreto, either to go see the baby gray whales that are down there or fishing trips or anything like that. So there's ongoing fluency in travelers that come back and forth.
The other thing I think you had mentioned when we were talking earlier is a Migrant Club here. Maybe you could expand on that, explain to our viewers exactly what that is and how that works?
Sure, that's a very exciting project that we have going right now. A Migrant Club, or Programa 3x1, which is what the Mexican consulate calls it, is a really cool program that they provide for Mexicans to give back to their communities. So the program was started for Mexicans who have migrated here to join the club and to pool together their fundraising efforts and to send that back to Mexico with the support of the government. So the reason it's called Programa 3x1, which is 3 times 1, is because you get 3 times the funding. So if you're able to fundraise, let's say $10, each level of the Mexican government will add to that funding. So the federal government will give you another $10, the state government as well, and then the municipal as well. So if you raise 10, you're really giving 40 back to the community. So it's a super exciting project, and we were really excited to take it on. In order to do so, we had to group 10 people. A minimum of 6 of them had to have originated from Mexico. So that was a little challenge in itself, but we found them. And those 10 people then form an official migrant club. So that's what we're in the middle of right now. We're very excited.
Keeping you active.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about the actual committee. You meet periodically, you discuss relationships, you discuss trips. Maybe talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So the committee meets on a monthly basis, usually for an hour each month. And we try to cover all different topics. There are people in the committee with different interests. So of course we have that pen pal exchange. We have somebody who's very interested in the educational aspect of this. The diplomacy aspect, the travel aspect, of course, is big. There's a lot of people in our committee that travel to Loreto and that are interested in promoting fundraising trips to Loreto. So that's one of the things we talk about. We also like to do fundraisers in Ventura. So we have one girl who's great at fundraising, and she calls different businesses in Ventura that are very supportive of our community and organizes fundraisers around town for our committee.
So people watching this program and getting excited about Loreto, how can they get involved in the organization?
Well, we are very open to new people getting involved. Anybody that wants to join can email me or call me, and then our meetings are open to new people all the time. We love meeting new people. We also tend to host events, as I mentioned, fundraising events and things like that. So that's a great way to come out and meet people in our committee.
So if people do want to become involved, is there a website or someplace they can go to get further information on this, besides just emailing you, and we can provide that information? But is there a Sister City website?
Yes, and it's hosted under the Visit Ventura website.
Okay.
So it's visitventuraca.com/Sister City.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for all that information. That's interesting and exciting, and I'm sure our viewers will be excited about that. Anything else you'd like to say or expand upon?
We look forward to hearing from anybody that's interested. We'd love to have new people. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. And thank you to all of you out there for being with us on this program. We look forward to seeing you again in the future. This is Ed Wehan, and see you again.